Welcome to Skills to Pay the Bills and today's segment of JustAskFreeman.com. I'm your host, Freeman Owen Jr., and with me is my lovely wife and co-host, Carolyn Owen. Karen, what are we going to talk about today?
Well, Freeman, we're going to talk about the baby boomers, those born between 1946 and 1964. They are wondering if they'll be able to retire or when they can retire. And this is causing psychological stress and it's causing mental issues. So today we're going to help the baby boomers and with their retirement concerns and what keeps them awake at night.
All righty. That sounds like a winner to me. Tell me about this Kellyanne article that we both looked
yes.
at.
Yep. Kellyanne Smith from Bankrate wrote an article, and it's really frightening. It's stating, "I'll be working until I die." And baby boomers face the reality that they may never be able to retire. Also, our viewers want to know, is it fact or fiction that is 10,000 baby boomers turn the age of 65 every day?
Exactly.
Now, this is alarming. So what do you say about all of this?
Well, fact. 10,000 baby boomers turn or attained age 65 each and every day. A lot of these baby boomers don't know some of the basics, as when to file for their Social Security, when to file, how to maximize the Social Security benefits. And something else is interesting too, Carolyn. They're usually inundated with information about Medicare and Medicare Advantage. And so it's not exactly an alarming figure, but it is a lot of folks not only are not educated or informed about their retirement needs and planning for retirement, all right? So, Carolyn, I did see that article that you referenced, and the writer talks about a man he thought he would hit it, quote, hit it big. And he felt that he should retire by now. He holds a master's degree from MIT. Okay. He has 25 years experience as a software engineer. And on top of that, he took the plunge to start his business. Okay. Now, here it is a decade later, and he is despondent. He was working. He's still working now. Some days he wakes up as early as 4:30 and does not stop working until after 5 p.m. In the evenings. So a question was addressed, or I should say, he was asked this question: when do you plan to retire? Well, his response was probably never. All righty. Now let me kind of elaborate on this. Now, I'm looking at the fact that I wondered whether or not this man had a pension. All righty, because he worked 25 years as a software contractor, whether or not that contractor provided any type of pension for him or whether he was on his own. It's very evident that he did not have any type of, I should say, retirement professionals to help him and guide him through that 10 years in order to hit that goal at age 57. That's a real problem. Usually when you start in business, this is my experience, usually the first year, the individual who takes that plunge is washed out. And sometime after 5 years, most of the time, after 5 years of being in business, there's a possibility you might not have enough capital. There's a lot of things that can occur that can wash out your business. And evidently, this 57-year-old man was disappointed because he probably had made some bad choices along the way. But what I see is that he did not have a financial professional there in order to give him the guidance that he needed to hit that goal at age 57. Now, this article also further stated what happened to this gentleman in 2005.
Well, yes, also this article stated that this gentleman started his company in 2005, and I'm going to emphasize the word hoped. He hoped it would supplement his future, along with his investments that he had casually made in the stock market.
Exactly.
Now, out of the recession, but when the recession of 2008 hit, he lost 70% of his invested funds. and his business came to a standstill. So Freeman, are we still captive to what happened in 2006 and 2008?
Of course we are. All right. We saw government shutdowns. We saw the sequester. We also saw mortgages sort of flip. All that happened during that time. And evidently this gentleman, and the key word is, well, two key words that I heard you say, and we read it. It is, he hoped his way. Now, you know, you need discipline in order to stay in business.
Discipline and planning.
And planning. And then he casually lost 70% of his income producing assets. Well, again, it shows where he had no financial, a financial professional to be there in order to guide him through. One of the things that we do is for our clients is that we understand that their major concern is running out of money.
Yes. Okay.
And so to offset that, we help our clients avoid costly mistakes during their retirement journey. There has to be a game plan. There has to be some type of roadmap. And when you need a financial professional to help you with that, one way you can do, we can tell our audience to go to our website, just ask freeman.com, or either contact us through the toll-free number that's shown on the screen here, to get a safe money kit. And of course, they can get a no obligation consultation. And as I mentioned earlier, what we do is make sure that we address that concern of individuals age 65, well, actually age 50 on up, because we help those who are planning for retirement or have already retired. That's our forte. But the main thing is that help these individuals avoid costly mistakes during the retirement. Sit down with them that have a game plan, okay, and so that they know that their assets are safe and they have a peace of mind, because you need income that lasts for the rest of your life, and that's where we focusing on. And the gentleman there at the age 57, evidently, he lost 70% of his income producing assets, and he may have taken, and not only the 70%, but there may have been some withdrawals there that were taxable. And he was under the age of 59 and a half, educated, but there were still things that he should have known about, and could have been prepared for the fact that the first eligibility age at 62, he might have wanted to take his Social Security at that time, or be informed that there was limits on how much he can earn being under the full retirement age 66. Setting up his, if he had any type of employer-sponsored retirement account, knowing how to do direct rollovers to minimize taxation. And that's where we could help folks like him before they make a costly mistake. And it was terribly unrealistic to say he can retire and hope his way in 10 years to be able to retire.
That is so true.
All right.
But Freeman, can we blame the stock market for the problems individuals are having with their dwindling retirement funds? Or does living longer and being healthier play a role in how much money we need these days for a sound retirement?
In this case, Carolyn, it's both. All right. The market is so volatile. We saw a few weeks ago, well, I should put it this way, early January, middle of January, how the market just dropped significantly, several thousand points at Dow. So without proper training, now I gave an example of how this gentleman was educated, but was he educated on how money works, how to plan for retirement? So let's take a look at back in 1980. Okay. 89, well, in the 80s, 89%, okay, of employers offered a pension. By the time mid-90s had arrived, only 15% of all the companies in the United States offered a pension. Today, 7.2%. So the advent of the employer-sponsored retirement accounts. There you go. The 401k, the TSP, the 403b, drop programs that are held by, and which law enforcement officers contribute to. These are employer-sponsored retirement accounts that have certain restrictions, all right? But a lot of folks just sort of, with no training, place and contributed to these employer-sponsored retirement accounts in the market, okay? And so the uncertainty and the volatility, like I said, folks are educated with degrees, but still, there needs to be an education, or I should say, there should be a retirement specialist or financial professional to help individuals like we do, and we do, help folks every day. Again, I go back to the fact that we help many a person avoid costly mistakes when it comes to the retirement funds. Now, we look at the government shutdown, all right? Individuals were making withdrawals from their employer-sponsored retirement accounts. We don't want them to panic, but the thing is, we were able to help a lot of these federal employees and those in the private sector to avoid costly mistakes, because as I mentioned, these employer-sponsored retirement plans have restrictions on withdrawals. And we're going to talk about that later on in one of our segments.
And I was thinking also with the baby boomers, we have to plan for a longer retirement.
Exactly. And here's what boomers are doing today. In answering your question, I want to hurry up and answer this question, else I'll come back to it. We're living longer. Boomers are taking pride in exercise and health programs. And so we have a 29% chance, if you're age 65, married, to live well beyond the age of 95. So dwindling retirement funds, that's a problem. We're living longer, life expectancies are increasing, Carolyn, and of course, boomers have decided, hey, we need to be healthier, and so they're in a lot of health programs. We're going to take a break. Folks, I'd like for you to stay with us. You're viewing us on justaskfreeman.com. Our segment is part of Skills to Pay the Bills. Stay with us, and we'll be right back. Thank you for joining us on Skills to Pay the Bills in today's segment of justaskfreeman.com. Carolyn, you know, prior to the break, we were discussing how the stock market and has impacted retirement funds for so many of the boomers who could stand our help. We've gave them a way of contacting us through the toll-free number there. I want to emphasize this, that we don't give investment tax or legal advice, okay? And what we do, as I mentioned earlier, our concern, as well as the major concern, is to make sure that we help our retirees avoid costly mistakes during their retirement and have peace of mind. And we were talking about dwindling retirement funds. We looked at the role that boomers have taken on being healthy, and better medical technology has helped in extending your life expectancy. Okay, so I want to talk about. There was an article that you sourced on the amount of money that is needed for to retire.
Yes, Freeman. Bankrate asked Americans how much money they need to retire. And I was surprised at this answer.
Right.
58% of the baby boomers did not know how much they needed.
Wow.
So it's not even knowing what goal you're working towards. So why do you think boomers don't know the answer to this question?
Here we go. All right. Here's something that's interesting I want to tack on to this statistic.
Okay.
40% of the population, according to these sources, have less than $1,000 or $1,000 or less in savings. Any type of emergency can crop up. When you have such a large number of people, across all ages in this case, that don't have $1,000 in savings, okay? And that's, like I said, we saw a few weeks ago when the government shut down that folks were living, and high income earners too, check to check. Now let's talk about how much money they need to retire. Again, it takes discipline. And I'm gonna say it again, Carolyn, you can't hope your way or wish your way into retirement. You need a professional, a financial professional, to sit down and talk to you and navigate some of the rigors and barriers that are in the way so that you can have a peaceful retirement. Well, you can call us. You'll see the toll-free number on the screen, and contact us, and you can get a complimentary consultation. You can also get our Safe Money Kit, all right, which covers direct rollovers and what's happening with 401ks, how to file for your Social Security and maximize it, because we even have software that will provide a report to tell you when to file, how to file, and some of the strategies there to maximize your Social Security, how to avoid making mistakes withdrawing monies from your employer-sponsored retirement accounts and your IRAs, just to name a few. And we have some answers for our boomers on how much they need to retire. That should be crystal clear, all right? Tell me about this study a little bit, and then I'll elaborate on it.
Okay, well, Freeman, there was a study done by a Consumer Bankruptcy Project, and it claims that shifting trends in benefits, out-of-pocket costs, and bankruptcy are contributing to rocking the financial futures. Now, do you agree with this assessment?
I agree with you wholeheartedly.
Okay.
Let me share with you some of the reasons for these rocket financial journeys and futures. Social Security benefits now begin 2 years later for retirees. Now, if you're born between 1946 and 1964, your full retirement age is 66. Your first eligibility age is 62, and of course the last is age 70. Now, when you get beyond 1964, we have run reports for individuals now that will receive their full retirement age benefit, Carolyn, at 66 and 4 months, 66 and 7 months, 67. Well, you know, like I said, Social Security benefits now begin 2 years later. And we talked about pensions, which have been largely replaced by employer-sponsored retirement accounts. Your 401ks, your TSPs, your 403bs, each one of them have certain restrictions on the distribution of those assets from those plans. And it puts more responsibility on older people. See, that's the thing. And these plans often enable undefined and unpredictable payouts, okay? Again, a lot of folks just make their contributions every 2 weeks or however, if there's a match. And again, a lot of companies are not matching those contributions now, Carolyn.
That's true.
It does put quite a burden on older folks, and a lot of the older folks are not so computer savvy and don't understand the languages from these different plans, okay? Again, no training, just thrown into, here, make your contribution to this employer-sponsored retirement account, and no one to give you any type of guidance. Well, folks, we will.
Yes.
You could call us. You'll see the toll-free number on the screen, or you can go to Freeman at justaskfreeman.com and request one of our Safe Money Kits. We have expanded that now.
Yes, we have.
To cover just about, numerous retirement plans and, I should say, solutions for you to offset these rock financial failures, okay? That is what we do. Now, let me elaborate on this too, Carolyn. There has been a significant increase in medical costs. And you saw, we were looking at this program, it was one of the major cable networks. Tell me what happened when we talked about the cost of living adjustment, or the COLA.
Yes, with the COLA, what this article was stating is that the Medicare costs also rise along with the COLA. So basically, you sometimes end up with a net zero.
Exactly.
Or you certainly can. So that's something to keep in mind.
That's
too.
right. With these increasing medical costs, which is not helping the situation at all, Americans with Medicare, no, you ready for this? Okay. Funnel 20% of their income to out-of-pocket medical spending. That's incredible. 20%. And you're right. When you see, most of the time, if you get a COLA, then, or cost of living adjustment, your Medicare premium for that Part B, which comes out of your Social Security, see the correlation there? That slightly increases. And we've seen inflation. We experience that. We see the increased cost, especially when it comes to Medicare. The premium is starting to escalate, but 20% is significant.
That's very high.
10, 15, now is at 20. Now, and let me share this with you too. Carolyn, this is interesting. The increased responsibilities of older Americans is filing for bankruptcy. Let me repeat that. They're filing for bankruptcy at 3 times the rate of than they were in 1991. Now, this is amazing. 1 in 7 bankruptcy filers are age 65 and older. So that is an interesting fact, too, that precludes the peace of mind that you would have trying to retire and knowing you need retirement income that will be there, predictable income, guaranteed for the rest of your life. And one of the things about bankruptcy, that almost an indelible mark, 10 years on your on your credit reports. All 3 credit reporting agencies will have that information there. So we could help you avoid bankruptcy.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Tell me about salvaging.
Well,
we're going to talk about that.
Yeah, Freeman, what can people do to salvage their retirement dreams and have enough money to live out their future, to balance their lives?
Okay. Carolyn, some retirees are turning to something called the gig economy. Now, as far as I'm concerned, I always thought that artists, musicians, often referred to as gigs, well, they had a job to do at various venues, and they played their music and so on. Well, they're turning to something called the gig economy today. That's another way of saying they're turning to the freelance economy. We've got retirees now. They need additional income. All right. They are greeters at some of your large department stores. They're working in fast food restaurants. Contracting is big. Temporary jobs. Now, we've seen job growth. We see it each and every month, but the real figures under that, you have some folks that are in low-paying jobs and temporary jobs, and I talked about contracting. All right, so as I mentioned, they're turning to the freelance economy. As of 2016, these types of workers represent 35% of the U.S. workforce, and they brought $1 trillion of revenue, or I should say income, into the economy. You have self-employed workers, averaging 55 years in age, and accounted for 25% of the workforce in 2016. And of course, the Bureau of Labor Statistics have this group, half of this group was 65 years and older. And of course, what we have here, Carolyn, is technology has lowered the barriers of entries into part-time and contractual work. So there's gig economy. The idea of staying active and starting a second career, that's alluring to many seniors. But what we've seen is a number of contractors get outbidded, and you've got the older employee there. He's out of a job maybe after 3 or 4 years, and he has to get another contract, hopefully. All right. So we've seen technology. We see the freelance, I refer to it, where we're doing temporary work, contracting work. It is growing at, I would say that at alarming rate.
Yes.
Okay. And then a lot of your retirees like to have something to do when they separate from service. Well, you know, let me tell you, before we end, let's just say that today's discussion is not meant for our viewers to go into severe panic mode. We just want to encourage people to start early planning for their future retirement. And things are probably never going back to the so-called good old days. So we have to take a serious look at our habits with respect to spending and make the necessary adjustments sooner rather than later. But if you're currently in that later stage, there are things you can do. Stop the bleeding, have a qualified and reputable financial professional to help guide you through the process and to help you adjust to some hard decisions you may have to make. And it's a worthy thing to do. So if you have any questions about our segment today, please give us a call at our toll-free numbers right there at the screen, 1-833-313-SAFE, 1-833-313-7233, or you can just email us at freeman@justaskfreeman.com. We'll answer your questions and send you a free retirement kit. And I want to thank you so much for watching today's segment, and be sure to tune in next week for another great segment. This is Freeman and Carolyn Owen wishing you a fantastic week.